Hello, hello, I'm Kads and welcome to today's video. Once again, the portal is a light with the lovely yellow hue, meaning it is once again time to pull some shards. There is a summon rush going on for the most skippable fusion of 2024, the Incarnate, but nonetheless we are going for her, and thus we do need some of the fragments for the Epic for the fusion. So that is our reason for pulling shards. We never pull without a purpose in mind, so let's hop over to the summon rush and check it out. And in this case, I was basically bang on with my prediction for the amount of points. I put it at 3150, but they just got rid of the mystery shards, so we only have to do 6 sacreds to guarantee the fragments here for the lizard man there. Along the way, it is nice that we were going to get 50 gems and 300 energy as well, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, compared to like historical precedent, obviously normally we'd have 2 different nodes, so you'd have a 2150 node, maybe a 2250 node, and then you'd have the 3000 or maybe the 3500, and worst case the 4925, but I didn't expect that to be the case in this iteration. But it looks like they chose to split it up, and so you're going to have one node here at 3000 for this summon rush, and then in a few days in the middle of next week they're going to have another 2-day long summon rush where there's going to be I guess, I don't know, maybe some special event, but there's going to be more, or a 50 bonus fragments up for grabs during that. So you could skip this one and participate in that one. You could skip Dungeon Divers or Artifact Enhancement, whatever. So there's a bit of flexibility if you are one of the 10% of people that are actually attempting this fusion. But nonetheless, our strategy for today is pulling our 6 sacreds to guarantee that 3000 points. So hopping over into the portal, let's take a look at the overall shard count on the account. 759 on the Ancients, 178 on the Voids, 1 on the Primals, fresh off of our previous 2x Primals session, and then 46 on the Sacreds, which of course we will be dipping into today. And on top of that, of course, there is a progressive chance event, which is extremely convenient and kind of a no-brainer for me, but it looks like they're putting a bunch of like arena-ish champions in the mix. So Kaimar is probably going to be highly coveted. Sun Wukong, I think even if you missed his champion chase event, I think like promo codes for newer players, you can still actually get him. So he's probably a lot less desired. Maybe people want to empower their new Kongs or something like that. And Korra, previous fusion, but still very, very strong, even with or without King Narcisse. And then Hefrak, obviously a very strong and trollish nuker. But of course, as a proud Rotos owner, a proud double Rotos owner, we are hoping to get that 3rd Rotos. And if I do get him, I will we'll do it live here. We'll empower my first Rotos to +2, because that will be very, very powerful. I do not have maxed out Faction Guardians in the Undead Horde, but Rotos is such a staple of my account that having 20% bonus attack and HP and all that stuff, extra crit damage, extra speed, is going to be substantial for him. And yeah, for the epics, Phenax, probably one of my most wanted to empower to +4. So if we can stack a couple, maybe 1 or 2 Phenaxes just from the epics that I also expect to get to, that'd be pretty nice. But Magnar would be pretty cool too. I think I have him at +2 already, so Phenax is a higher priority than Gorgrab. Don't really need empowerment on him, but he is again a solid reviver for faction wars and like Curse City, stuff like that. If we do check on our Mercy tracker here, which will be linked in the description box down below if you want a copy of that for yourself. But you can see here that we are in Sacred Mercy. So if we do happen to get a legendary, or I guess the odds are higher that we do get a legendary, but it's not guaranteed at all. Obviously, you can go well into like the 30s and 40s on Sacreds out getting a legendary, especially outside of a 2x. So no guarantees, but you know, we are in Mercy, so maybe there's a decent chance that we do get a legendary. And then there's a 5-6% chance that it's a Rotos with the progressive chance event. So we'll just see what happens with that. Oh, and one quick note before we get started, I did manage to finally get my Rotos all the way up to 6-star awakened. I think blessings have been out for probably over a year at this point. Maybe, I don't know, I have to go back and look. But it's taken that long to get the 400 super essence that it will take to get from the 5-star and the 6-star. So it took a very, very, very long time, but we have our first 6-star legendary on the account. This was not earned through any means through soul stones. We literally purchased each step of the way, converting soul coins into soul essence and just slowly but surely waiting for the merchant. So it took a long time. Next on my list is going to be Harima here, getting her to 5-star and 6-star, which is probably going to take another year unless we just get some magical summons and pulls. But yeah, for those who are curious on how my Rotos is built, 52,000 on the HP, almost 6,000 on the defense, and you can see all of the blessing stats here now. But 253 on the speed, that was the main thing. He was at 5-star for a very, very, very long time as we saved up the essence, but getting 15 speed brings him over 250. So he's super fast, super ready for live arena shenanigans. Full crit rate, 290 on the crit damage, almost 300%. And then we didn't really care at all about accuracy or resistance. So if we do get empowerment, he gets even stronger, which will be absolutely amazing. And I do have him built in a savage, and then he has one piece of merciless. Ideally, he would actually be able to be put in merciless long term, but we'll see what we can get from the Cursed City over the months. And so, as usual, when there is someone desirable in the progressive chance, we don't talk about the other champions on my wish list, the other legendaries. But in terms of epics, obviously Fanax would be ideal, but we're still looking for some Lady Mikage epics. We are getting a lot closer. We've gotten a lot of progress in the last couple of sessions. So we have all the Tatsu ones ready to go, and so we're just looking for Ilicinia and then Ilfrig, and then once we get that, we can fuse both of the legendaries, and then we can have our proud Lady Mikage. So fingers crossed that we're able to get at least one of them. That would be another way to succeed in this particular session. All right, so let's get into the pools. We've got tons of space. We got a little bit of cash, and hopefully we could get some decent +2 first legendary empowerment luck on the account today. First sacred out of 6, and we're starting it off cold with an epic. So we get a Doom Priest, very popular for lots of things, honestly. Just run her in Relentless if you can, and her passive will keep your team healed up as well as free of debuffs over time. Very, very solid. Does not need to be booked, so very, very strong for an unbooked champion. 5 sacreds to go, and we're building up the progressive chance, obviously, for a Fanax, so the odds are going to be very, very high of getting him near the end here. Royal Guard, nice, obviously very famous for the AoE enemy max HP ability here, takedown, and so this is good for me. This is another duplicate of a Royal Guard, which means he should be able to go to +2. So yeah, any epics for empowerment are also pretty nice, but less or more underrated, I guess, for the quad hitter here on the A3 4-turn cooldown, but has a chance to place decreased speed and also play a decreased turn meter. So very strong for like the Dark Fae, keeping her controlled as well as having the enemy max HP hit, and then decreased defense on the A1. 2 sacreds down, 4 to go. Legendary, we hit it, and it is not a Rotos. It is not even an Undead Horde. It is a Tatura Rhymehide. Unfortunate. There goes our mercy shot. So I guess we're expecting epics from here on out. But I don't know. Tatura Rhymehide's a weird champion. Like, the kit reads pretty well, but he just doesn't function in most areas. But we'll go through it really quickly. AoE attack on the A3 places a perfect veil on everyone but himself, and then places a shield on himself proportional or equal to 20% of the damage inflicted. So if you build him like a nuker, which he can actually hit decently hard for a defensive based nuker, it could be pretty decent. He is one of the rare perfect veil champions, but unfortunately, when he does this ability, he places True Fear on himself in the Hydra context, and so you might actually miss out on his other ability that's on a 3-turn cooldown, which is block debuffs and increased defense. And so that's just kind of not like bad synergy, but it's just like a less helpful rotation of abilities, because if you're really hoping for this to come out, there's a 50-50 chance that he just fails after placing the veil on everyone else, and obviously he doesn't place the veil on himself, so that doesn't work either. So kind of weird. Like, he can help you deal with the Head of Torment, but he's not the best champion to help you with that. But nonetheless, decreased accuracy, 100% chance on the A1 for 2 turns. So if you're dealing with a single target and you just need him to spam the A1 and keep decreased accuracy on, a lot of people did that for like Bommel way back in the day. Very, very solid for that as well. But, you know, I don't know. He's a weird champion. I have him obviously because he's a previous fusion, and this will be a faction guardian for the High Elves. 3 down, 3 to go. Come on, Fanax. I believe in you. We have a 25x higher chance to get him, and that is not you. Continuing on with the High Elves, we have a Vergis, one of the most annoying champions to go against in the Cursed City because of his silly passive here where he gets a bunch of continuous heals every time you hit him once he's below 50% HP. But yeah, one of the best ally protectors in the game. Used to be very popular for soloing the Scarab King in a destroy set if you were willing to sit there for 40 minutes and wait for him to do it. But yeah, I feel like he's kind of fallen off, but he can be very useful in like Clan Boss, Demon Lord, Clan Boss traditional teams. Stuff like that. 2 sacreds to go. Come on, Fenax. I believe in progressive chance events. Oh no, we have Bushy, one of the, again, annoying champions in like an enemy wave content, because he revived himself with the unkillable afterwards, so he can just be very annoying. He's not hard to deal with, it's just more of an annoyance thing. And if you have like a turn meter control team, he's just like a man eater where he just sits under the unkillable forever, and you have to restart the run or something like that. So one of those kind of annoying champions, but basically useless for any other thing that you would want to use him for on your team. Last sacred here. Come on, progressive chance. Ah, bummer. Infernal Baroness, pretty trash epic, so not much to say about her. So I'm fairly confident about my math in this case, but nonetheless, let's double check in the summon rush to make sure that we did get all of our points. Yes, we did. 3,000. There we go. I think I'm at 75 out of 100, so we're still in the beginning stage of the fusion, so there's not much progression to talk about, but I did do the artifact enhancement and classic arena, stuff like that. I think I'm close to Fire Knight, so I'm close to one of the epics, but of course we're going to wait for the champion chase next weekend in order to do summon as many of those void epics as we can to offset however many shards we're going to have to pull to get the fragments from that event. And so we might as well keep you guys around for a little bit longer and just do our first pair of High Elf Faction Guardians to Rhyme-Hide. I do have him built. I do use him in my Sand Devil team. So he is technically used, despite all I said earlier, he is used because he has one specific rotation of abilities that's quite handy. But yeah, and then for the empowerments, let's find Mr. Royal Guard, and we can do that one as well. There we go. Royal Guard is now +2. I don't think... I have to be careful about like speed tuning and other things like that, but I don't think extra speed on him is going to be anything that hurts. So he just hits a little bit harder, a little bit more crit damage, so a little bit more power out of his enemy max HP hit, and just stronger against enemy waves. I do have him built in a Savage set as well. So there you have it. That is going to do it for our shard pull session for today. This is my original Satura Rhyme-Hide, if anyone is curious, but we did get a fresh one. But I think the highlight of the day probably is more empowering our Royal Guard, so he's a little bit stronger than before, so that's pretty neat. Let me know in the comment section down below if you were participating in this summon rush for any other reasons. Again, I know a lot of people were not doing the fusion, but there are a lot of enticing champions up for grabs, at least in the elevated odds. So I know a lot of people are pulling voids for Taurus, stuff like that. So let me know if you're interested or were interested in any of those events and what you happen to get from your shards. And as always, if you did enjoy the video, then be sure to hit that like button down below and feel free to subscribe to the channel for more content just like this one in the future. Thanks for watching and have a good one.